I just want to start off this video just letting you guys know that I apologize for not telling you what one of the best mice that will probably come out this year, and it's gonna get even better very, very soon. The gaming mouse that I'm talking about today is actually none other than the Lamzu Atlantis Mini. This is the full-size Atlantis that we took at a while ago, probably better part of like 6 or 8 months ago when it was first released. And the Atlantis Mini I did get my hands on a little bit later on. I finally remembered to request it from Lamzu to see what my thoughts were, and I've had this mouse since like late February. I was doing this challenge with Rocket Jump Ninja and we were talking about using small mice, so I kind of challenged myself to use a small mouse for a month or so, and then I ended up just using small mice for a much longer period of time than a month, and basically it has kind of transformed my game in a very, very beneficial way. What we're going to be talking about is why the Lamzu Atlantis Mini is now one of my favorite mice that I've been using the entire year, and what has kind of made me switch over from some of the other mice that I have been using recently, because really I was using things that are around the size of the full-size Atlantis, maybe slightly smaller than this one. Like I was using the Ninjasto Sora, I was also using the Pulsar X2, I was also using the Logitech G Pro Wireless Superlight, and those are all great mice. But for whatever reason, there is something that keeps on bringing me back to the Lamzu Atlantis Mini, even though the full-size Atlantis is definitely something that I would have seen myself using long-term for the better part of like a year or two ago. Like this mouse coming out 12 months ago, a year ago, I would have been locked in using this thing on a regular basis. And definitely 2 years ago when I was using the Endgame Gear XM2 for quite a while, I definitely would have loved to have this mouse in hand, because this is basically an improved design of the Endgame Gear XM1. And with the wireless one taking a very long time to come out, it's finally out now. The Atlantis full size, quite frankly, grabs my attention over the Endgame Gear XM1 simply because the rear height of the mouse gives me a more locked in feel, and this is an absolutely great mouse for the claw grip style of play. And basically this gives you a huge comfortable mouse that's super lightweight. This mouse weighs in at only 55 grams, and you get a really comfortable locked in shape for a claw grip, so you do get a ton of precision and you don't feel like the mouse is fighting you when you want to do any kind of movement that you can think. Not to mention that the mouse skates are absolutely fantastic. The clicks on this mouse are absolutely fantastic as well. These are Huano Blue Shell pink dot switches, and the side button placement, and as far out as they are as far as being very easy to hit, is excellent. The scroll wheel is super light and smooth as well. The scroll wheel encoder and button is not the most spammable, but it is very consistent and you can spam it. Like I don't feel like I misclick when I'm trying to spam this one, but really if you want to do any spammable actions, you probably shouldn't bind it to your scroll wheel button. Everything about this mouse, including the build quality, the design, it just looks very cool. The packaging that the mouse comes in as well is absolutely elite. And the full-size Atlantis is also perfectly balanced as well, so just holding it from the middle and the sides, it doesn't move at all. And the balance does not affect my gameplay at all with the full-size Atlantis, but the Atlantis Mini is definitely a little bit more front heavy, because as you can see, the PCB is definitely shoved all the way to the front. This also does not affect my gameplay. You guys might be wondering what these are. These are just some grips from Pulsar. Very good grips, the super grips, I believe, but we'll talk about those in another video. Everything that I was saying about the full-size Atlantis carries over to the Atlantis Mini, but in a greater way. Basically, the Atlantis Mini gives me an even more locked in feel, and I just feel like I get a little bit more precision by holding this mouse in the same two spots with these grips. I do enjoy that quite a bit, and I feel like it also gives me a little bit more consistent gameplay. This mouse weighing in at 49 or 50 grams with the grips on, and this mouse weighing in at 55 grams. Honestly, I would probably go with the Mini again just for that added precision, but if I was home doing a lot more office work, I would probably consider the Atlantis just for the slightly greater comfort. But even using the Atlantis Mini as my primary mouse for all office work tasks, like just when I'm like video editing and things like that, which does take me quite a while to do, I never really experienced getting hand cramps anymore, and I think it's because at this point I'm just really used to using smaller mice. So I feel like I'm kind of just over the initial feeling of using a smaller mouse and getting hand cramps and things like that. Like it's just an adjustment that you have to make. And now I do feel like I can be a lot more versatile when I review products, because now I am extremely used to using smaller mice, and I even perform a little bit better, a little bit more consistent, especially in games that do require a bit more precision. I do feel like I hit my shots a lot easier with the smaller mice. I am really impressed with what Lamzu has done in such a short period of time, especially considering the fact that the full-size Atlantis and Atlantis Mini, the standard versions are $90, and they now have a 4K version coming out that is $99. Like basically for $10 more, they're releasing their updated mice with the same 3395 sensors, but they got a new processor or whatever that enables the 4000 hertz wireless polling rate capability, and you're going to be getting that same great build quality and also really good modern technology to give you even more accurate tracking and feedback from your mouse to improve your aim even further. But quite honestly, guys, when I play on a 4000 hertz polling rate mouse, sometimes I feel like my aim definitely shines as being a lot worse than what it actually is. Maybe just because I'm bad, but you know, maybe I need a little bit of help from you know, running a lower polling rate. But basically, you will have, you know, significantly more accurate tracking with 4000 hertz polling rate. So if you are doing micro corrections at light speed, your mouse is going to be able to keep up with that a ton better. And especially if you are using a higher hertz monitor, you will definitely be able to tell the difference when you're comparing that 1000 hertz polling rate to a 4000 hertz polling rate. So really excited to check these out in the future. But for the time being, if you guys have not checked out the Atlantis full size or the Atlantis Mini, I highly recommend that you keep both of these mice on your radar to check out in the near future, because these are not mice that you want to miss. These are definitely going to be some of my favorite mice to mention again at the end of the year when I round up all of my favorite tech that has come out this year.